Warner Brothers Games Montreal, which I believe is the technical way to say it. Anybody from Canada can confirm and back me up on this. Warner Brothers Games Montreal is working on a AAA live service title based on DC Comics. Because the last DC-inspired live service game went so well. According to a new job listing, Warner Brothers Games Montreal next game is a AAA live service title based in the DC Comics universe. They say that they were working on a AAA game based on the DC Comics universe as revealed through an earlier job listing. However, the fact that it is a live service game is new information, and many players have some thoughts to share about this development. Spotted initially by Tech for Gamers, a new job listing for an executive producer has surfaced on Warner Brothers Games Montreal's website. The Your New Role category clearly states that the executive producer's duty would be to lead the development of a high-quality AAA game based on one of the iconic IPs from the vast Warner Brothers and DC Comics catalog. The live service part comes in the execution and market readiness category, which states that the executive producer will have to, quote, oversee post-launch content and live service strategy, ensuring ongoing player engagement. Many players have expressed dissatisfaction about Warner Brothers Games Montreal's upcoming AAA DC comic books being live. Dude, they're just saying the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, I mean, like, really? Really? If you don't know, this particular team, Warner Brothers Games Montreal, these are the guys that they've actually have had a very interesting history throughout the last, like, 15, 20 years, because they were the ones that did the spin-off Arkham Origins. That's actually a lot of people's, like, favorite Batman game. They like it because it's, like, Christmas themed and is just very different. I think it's fine. It's pretty good. Arkham Knight, they did the Harley Quinn, Red Hood, and Batgirl DLC stuff, and I'm sure they worked as a support studio during that time as well. Gotham Knights, they also did this one, and Gotham Knights is one of the weirdest games ever because, I mean, again, it was announced at the same time as Suicide Squad, and nobody would have thought that Gotham Knights would end up being, like, the more, I think, more complete package. Like, it had more unique content and more, I think, interesting combat, and I don't know, it ended up, I think, in some ways being the better game than Suicide Squad, which is kind of hilarious. But it also really, really felt like it was at one time a co-op multiplayer live service game that was turned into a single player game later. Everything from how they have the world set up to the crafting system being flooded with crafting materials, like 6 or 7 different currencies. I wonder if I can show you. They have some snippets in here where you're just like, what are we doing? Look at this. The mod chips for your suits. Like, I don't have any direct evidence of this. This is speculation based on playing the game. But I would not be shocked at all. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this game at one time had something like loot boxes or something that you would do polls for crafting materials and polls for skins, because they also had a crap ton of cosmetics and suits for you to swap into, like way more than you would think would make sense for a single player game. It's just like a flood and they just throw them at you. But I think it's because at one time this was how, like, the progression worked, is that you would do polls for new suits that also would give you different, like, power levels and stuff. And at one point they decided, screw that, this is going to go over poorly, we'll just put it in as like just throwing cosmetics at you that have these power levels. The UI was also very heavily critiqued because it looks like it's from a work in progress mobile game, which I also agree. But, like, look at all this. Oh, that's it right there. We'll come back to the mod chips again in a second. Look at all of these different currencies. These are all different currencies, crafting materials, and things that you need in order to level up or craft suits. And look how much it, like 151,000 pieces of salvage, 16,000 pieces of this, 32,000 pieces of that, 40,000 pieces of that, 23,000 pieces of that. That to me screams this was going to be something you do polls for, to get like 1,500 of this crafting material, 200 of that one, 3,500 of that crafting material. I think that at some point it was working like that. That's my sneaking suspicion. Again, I don't have any fun, sneaky, surprising information. But I think at one point this was a live service game. And they had the inventory and like crafting systems all tied to it. I mean, come on. Look at that. This, unironically, like this is literally in the finished game. These are the mods that you apply to your suits to get, like, as you can see, the rarity level, power health enhancements, all of that. This is what you'd have to apply to your suits in order to level them up. I don't think I'm that far off in suspecting that these at one time were like pulled for. I think that's what this was. Okay. So Gotham Knights, I think, was a live service game that was then transitioned to a single player game. And it had those remnants of the live service that really held it back. So it wasn't a very good single player game, and it wasn't a very good multiplayer game, I'm sure, which is why they walked it back. And so you just end up with this hodgepodge of nonsense and mediocrity. And it's, funnily enough, a very similar thing that's happened with other games. Avowed, for example, I think ended up probably the best of any of these that we'll talk about. But Avowed was at one point a multiplayer game that was walked back into a single player game. And I think you can feel that in how the companions work, and also how they have the camp set up, how they have a lot of the missions set up. But then also I think like Dragon Age Veilguard, that was also a live service multiplayer game at one point. And you can really, really tell with how, again, the companions work, with how a lot of the puzzles work. You can tell that it was at one point designed to have multiple people, with each one having their own skills and abilities and stuff. The levels are set up that way, hard gated, like you'd load into them separately from a centralized hub. And Gotham Knights also plays in a very similar way. I think that this was something that happened back like 3-4 years ago, where a lot of these studios were working on live service stuff, and some of the executives were realizing how risky it was and how they could just lose everything if they flopped. And so they were really worried about it and decided to try and transition it back to a single player game. And as a result, it just, it didn't go too well. Gotham Knights, of course, at one point, they do actually have co-op stuff working in it, but it's not the live service game that it was, I think, originally intended to be. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is not the stream freezing. This was the launch version of the game. Dude, I forgot how bad it ran. I forgot. So I think at one point it was going to be like live service out the ass, and then they toned it down to primarily a single player game.
Through Super Chat. Gotham Knights was the game that made me start researching games. I used to be a reveal trailer only to keep suspense. Not anymore.
Yeah, it'll burn you, dude. It'll burn you real good. It'll burn you real good once you get that one game that kind of took advantage of your naivete, perhaps, your trust, and just milked you dry as a result. Not in the fun way either. Yeah, dude, I almost forgot that this had co-op stuff in it at launch as well. But yeah, I think at one point this was designed fully live service, and who knows if there was ever going to be a single player component. I don't know. But yeah, it ran really, really bad. And it was not good. It was a disaster. It really, really was. Yeah, I guess you could say Suicide Squad ran better than this, but I still think this was like a more complete video game, because Suicide Squad had all of like 2 hours of content. The hard crash. Look at that. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Dude, look at the strings on his hoodie. It's cold in there. It looks cold. Oh my goodness. So anyway, that's when they worked on. I blocked so much of this out of my memory. I don't want to go back to it. I'm like, oh yeah, there was co-op. Oh, I forgot. It's like, gotta block it out of my brain. And then of course they did additional support work on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and now they're working on some secretive game. I've also heard from multiple people that they've been working as a support studio just in general. They've been supporting on the it was the Hogwarts Legacy director's cut. that I believe has just been shelved in favor of the sequel. And they've also been doing support work, or they were doing support work on the Wonder Woman game that was canceled and shut down. And they were working specifically on trying to code like all sorts of different systems, including trying to get the Nemesis system working in Unreal Engine, which was apparently a nightmare. So they've done a lot of work, a lot of support work on all sorts of DC and Warner Brothers projects. But now they are apparently full steam ahead working on an actual live service game, realizing the vision, I'm sure, of the original Gotham Knights game. And I don't know, I think, you know, a live service game built to be a live service game from the beginning stands a better chance of success than a game that was like live service multiplayer turned into single player and it just is bad at everything. At least if you are trying to make a live service game, there is potential that it is a decent live service game. But I'm just going to be real. Like, it is so damn hard to stand out in the modern marketplace. And it is so hard to create a game that has enough content that's going to keep people captivated for weeks and months and years. Because again, like we talked about this a ton with Suicide Squad, it's not just about getting you to buy the game on launch day and play it for a week. They like, if you leave after a week, that is considered a failure. They need you playing that game for weeks, for months, for years. That's how live service games are designed to work. And that's what determines their success. If you hop in, you play Marathon for a week, and you're like, yeah, I put 30 hours into it in that first week, and then I put it down and I moved on. That is still a colossal failure for them because they need you in there for the new seasons, for the new drops, for the new cosmetics and all that. And so this type of thing is just incredibly difficult to pull off. But again, the reason that they keep trying it is because if they have one success, it pays for all of the failures. Like, can you imagine a like Harry Potter MMO that has mass market appeal because it's Harry Potter? It gets the casual gamers in and they start playing it and spending money on it. That thing will print so much money. It will pay and make up for all of their other failures. It'll pay for Suicide Squad. It'll pay for this if this goes badly. It'll pay for everything else they've touched. The Wonder Woman game, everything. If they can have that one hit, which is why they're trying it. I've talked about this previously. I've talked about this publicly a few times because, as you guys know, I keep my name on the email list for job openings at Avalanche Software to keep an eye on what they're doing and what they're trying to pull off. And they're hiring a ton of people. I mean, they are expanding like mad. And by all accounts, it actually seems like genuinely a nice place to work. They have a really healthy 401k plan. They have all sorts of stuff that they've got set up. But they have in some of these sections, let me just pull up a few of these because I haven't screened these yet. But if I pull up a few of these, some of these are specifically for the live service game that they apparently are working on and have been talking about for a while. So they are now not just working on Hogwarts Legacy, they are also working on a live service like MMO version of Harry Potter, which is a whole other thing. Let me see if I can find here. So Expecto Go, who we've talked about before, he does a lot of really good coverage on Hogwarts Legacy, on all of this stuff with Warner Brothers. But he said, congrats on the pup. Just want to clear things up with the Hogwarts Legacy might be a live service concern. The job postings you mentioned are for another game that's an online multiplayer RPG. Back in March, Avalanche Software posted that they're hiring and working on multiple games. One of those games is the online multiplayer RPG that already has a game director, Jared Burbach, I don't know. He's hiring for those positions you mentioned. He has a background working in Destiny 2, League of Legends, Wild Rift, and Valorant. Hope this clears up any concerns while still being cautiously optimistic. Keep up the awesome content. Very nice of him. But as you can see here, come work with me. We're brewing up something awesome. Game director at Warner Brothers Avalanche on a new title. Ex-Riot Bungie, formerly game director, League of Legends. And this is his full history of stuff. So shout out to Expecto Go for collecting all of this. But as you can see, they are now working on multiple games. They are not just working on the one, they are working on multiple. So they are hoping to pull off a Harry Potter live service RPG and then also the single player game, which honestly, I prefer that. Do the single player game and have a live service game. And as I've said a bajillion times, I think there is a way to make a live service game in the Harry Potter universe that prints money and is really, really good. The idea that you can attend classes with your friends, that you can have like, not just the houses system breaking up your friend group, which could be interesting, but even in-game stuff, whether it's going to classes, whether it's visiting, famous landmarks from the series, like Diagon or other places, going and playing Quidditch, doing open world activities similar to what you do in Hogwarts Legacy. There's all sorts of stuff you could do that I think could allow this to blow up and do really, really well. I don't think it's like something that is an automatic failure. There's some concepts where I just think there's no way to make that work. I just don't see that happening. I don't think that clicks. But I think this is an idea and a concept that works and could make sense, and they are working on it. As for this, going back to the central topic that we started with, the Warner Brothers Montreal live service project, I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know if they're going to try to make a full-on Batman live service game. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if they go with something a little bit more niche. Who knows? But the main takeaway is Warner Brothers has not given up on live service stuff after Suicide Squad. They are doubling down on it, as they said that they were going to do. And they're just getting started. This particular project from Montreal, I don't know when we see that. It's true that they're getting job postings right now. They've been doing a lot of support work for the last few years since Gotham Knights, but who knows? Maybe they've been working on it in private and in secret for a while. But either way, it's still a handful of years away. We probably don't see it till next gen at the earliest, even still. So it's a good long ways off. Same with the Harry Potter live service game. That probably also is next gen. But I think they are going to try and get as many of these Harry Potter projects out right at the like multi or cross-gen time frame, maybe 2027 leading into 2028. That'll line up pretty well with, for them, they hope, the HBO show's success if that pops off and does well. And then they also are going to get to double dip into your pocket by having a next-gen version of the game available to you as well. So that's at least the idea, I'm sure. But they ain't giving up on it. They ain't giving up. They're sticking to it. So I guess time will tell. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But I'm interested in a Harry Potter live service game. I'm very curious what that could look like. I don't know. But I'm telling you what, guys, like the casual crowd will lose their minds. Like they will lose their minds for a Harry Potter game. Like there's all those people, who play Sims. It's all they play it day in, day out. And so they're gamers, but like they're not playing more than the Sims. Like they just play the Sims. I think there's a huge population out there that specifically like they play Hogwarts Legacy, they watch the movies, they're big fans of Harry Potter. They aren't really active gamers beyond that, and I think that they would come out in full force for this. Because like again, if you think like if you don't get the Harry Potter thing, that's totally fine. Universal Studios Orlando is a multi-billion-dollar theme park that was in like dangerous red territory. They were starting to lose money. It was not looking good. The whole park was in jeopardy. And then they launched the Harry Potter world within it, and it saved the entire theme park. Like that one IP has such a devoted fan base that it saved an entire theme park. Like it's huge. Okay. Like the people that are into Harry Potter, it is a different breed. They will show up like just walking around town with like themed clothes or like tattoos of their house that they belong to. Like it's crazy. Harry Potter people are crazy. They love it, dude. They love it. I like Harry Potter a lot. I'm not getting tattoos of it, but like we were on a plane when I took the family to Disney back in May. We were on the plane, and of course Disney's in Florida, in Orlando, and so is Universal. But we were on the plane flying to Orlando, and there was like a couple, looked like they're in their mid-30s. No kids or anything. A couple in their mid-30s, and they're wearing their robes, like that the students wear to Hogwarts, the magic school. They're wearing robes while sitting in the plane seat. Like these people go hard, dude. Yeah, I have a Lego Hogwarts behind me. I literally do. I like Harry Potter, but I'm saying if I'm here, there are many people up here. Okay. Like crazy. I was worried they're going to Florida in robes. Yeah, I guess I should clarify. Hogwarts robes. But seriously, like the people that are into Harry Potter are into Harry Potter, dude. He took my thing.